So, composition. Today, in composition, I brought you just one score that we will see together, a piece of music that we will see together, yeah, which is by Piet Swerts, yeah, and we can analyze it live, yeah. That we will do later. First of all, we do free atonalism for the first time. Do you know what atonalism is?
I have an idea.
Okay.
I have composed atonally, but we don't have a tonic center, no?
Yes. You don't. That's the main thing. You don't have a tonal center. You don't have an atonal center. Now, obviously, it's not this difficult to not have an atonal center, melodically speaking. Yeah, there is a very simple recipe, yeah, to write melodies which do not have an atonal center. Yeah, that's not difficult to do. Now, that is what we will call free atonalism. Why free atonalism? Because atonalism then branched out, no, into dodecaphonism, serialism, which are attempts to bring system, no, to the atonalism. The free atonalism, on the other side, just complies, yeah, with the requirement of not having an atonal center, right? And how do we easily achieve that? Do you know how to do it? If I ask you now, write an atonal melody, can you do it?
I would include all the 12 notes so that none of them gets more attention.
Yes. Good luck with that. But it would be tricky, yeah, because you need to find a method, because even when you try. There are still sometimes hints of.
Yes, of course, because we hear this and I expect, but it's not coming.
Then it's not coming, yeah. There is a recipe, which is the free atonalism recipe, which ensures that never happens, yeah. Still, it's a good idea what you said, period, yeah, to go through all the pieces, to all the notes. But this route also guarantees there is the least evocation of tonal content, yeah? And basically, it works as follows. I don't have but I have a whiteboard, so I will use a whiteboard. Just one sec. You see my whiteboard now or not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Basically, we have two intervals, which will be our pivot intervals, we will call them, yeah? So, pivot intervals, right? One is the tritone, yeah? Or the diminished fifth, right? And the other one is the chromatic, yeah, or the minor second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, for example, when we try and do the melody, this melody, we will always combine one of these intervals with something else, right? So, for example, we can do C, B, and then something else, which can't be a tritone or a minor second. So we can do, for example, a major third, right? And then we do another diminished, yeah? And then we do a fifth. And then a minor second. Right? But then we do a major third down. Right? And then a minor second. And then a fifth. And then a minor second. Yeah? So, if you always interject second minor, something else, triton, something else, you don't need to do it in alternation. You can do second minor more times, but it's nice to keep it nice and rich. You would end having certainly a melodic line without an atonal center. Right? Okay. So, let's see if you can do it. Georgios, just 4 bars in 4x4.
So, 8 notes. I will keep it simple.
8 notes? Yeah.
Corsets, all corsets. I'm not going to. I don't know. One more. Walk over again.
Again. Try again. So let me give you a look so you can organize it better. Just write a presentation. What will be a presentation phrase, yeah? So 4 bars of 4x4 but in atonal.
Okay.
Give the idea of a presentation, which is quintessentially wrong, because we've seen in Kaplan that we should always support everything with harmony. Let's see what happens. Let's see if you can still give the idea of give the impression of 2 basic ideas. First of all, do it identical. Try.
Yes. And afterwards I did. I have to play with the rhythm then to make it sound like it's coming back.
Exactly.
Let me find that. I don't have a melody. I don't know how to. Wait, no, I did simple. Okay.
Well done. Good. That makes it. You did a completely different.
Six. 4 2. 4 2.
Okay.
That's like
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Good. It is the same. Yeah. So the same, but keep it 4x4 and give the impression of an identical basic idea restatement. Yeah.
We're doing presentation, right?
Yes, as if it was a presentation. It's not, because it doesn't have any harmony. But...
Yeah. 4 bars, you said? Okay.
4 bars split in 2x2.
Okay. So. Sorry.
But thinking. It's easier.
Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay.
I will give you a process. Look. I will help you with something. See what Georgios said? He was right. First, as we don't have harmony, if we want to do 2 basic ideas, we need to imprint the template of the basic idea in the rhythm, because it's the only thing we have. Yeah, to really emulate something. So think first of all about the rhythm, without the pitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. For example, pa ta 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 tan tan pa tan 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 ta tan tan. For example, a rhythm, and then you put the notes on it.
Okay. My rhythm is much simpler.
Okay.
The
Okay. Again? Can you play it again?
yeah, maybe it has rhythm.
The first part again. I can't get it in my head.
It's la
La, si, la, si, la, si, la. So you have a minor second, major third, right?
yeah, that's it. I don't think it's good. There. It's not
Need-
fifth, for example, better.
Which one?
A fifth, better.
Tritone,
Okay.
diminished fifth, because you did minor second, major third. Major second I could do, and then I would do probably, yeah, to avoid any, yeah, because also in spite of this methodology to be very useful, yeah, there are elements that you have to keep an eye on that are the focal points, because music has focal points, and when you add rhythm, automatically our mind works gestaltically, so it will relate the focal points, and if the focal points within themselves they draw up a chord, the feel of atonalism will be far less, which is a variable that you should work out. Because maybe, for example, let me give you an example. Let me see if I can. Right? Careful. Yeah? You see? Minor second, major third, minor second. So it's fine. Then minor second, major third. Yeah. The same. Minor second, major third, but still. Yeah? So, another thing that you need to avoid are sequences. Yeah? Sequences will aid to these accidents to happen. The free atonal music should be vagrants in general. Yeah? The exercise I'm asking you to do with Caitlin, yeah, with trying to place a frame on it, is just an exercise of integration. Yeah, to see if you can somehow keep some of the content of Caitlin or the content of classical music, no, within the frame of atonalism. So, how do you connect with atonal music?
Personally, I don't get it.
You don't get it?
No, I don't understand. Where are we going?
It is a more in your emotional approach, more like feelings, and what does it make you feel?
Well, it's a bit uncomfortable. So, not my favorite. I can listen to it. I might enjoy some bars. But in general, it doesn't produce nice, in general, nice.
No, it doesn't. But don't you think, both of you, don't you think that would be very dull to make a piece that is never uncomfortable?
Oh, yes. No, I understand. I understand the emotions, that it doesn't have to be always happy and pretty, but the logic, I don't.
That's fine. So, it is for you, because We need to find an application. So I don't think you will use it as your main resource ever in your pieces, at least for now, because it's not your piece of cake, right? But it can be very powerful within your pieces, because it can be precisely the opposite. So if you put it in, it's like a bomb, right? You put it inside your very tonal compositions, you place it there with good taste, yeah, because otherwise it can be too disruptive. But if you somehow make it fit in a second, no, in a contrasting theme, in the future if you write a sonata, in a contemporary sonata, in a subordinate theme, or in the development, yeah, it can really add that edge to the piece, yeah, it can refresh it very, very much, yeah.
Yes.
I can understand it in a way that in art in general, I'm thinking movies, film right now, we have the pretty protagonist. I'm thinking now, for some reason, the Wizard of Oz with the pretty girl and the heroes. But the antagonist is a witch, an ugly witch, which and highlights the beauty of the main protagonist, for example. So even though the movie in general is quite pretty, if it was just pretty, it would be boring. The contrast with the uncomfortableness would aid to see why it's actually pretty, what we have. That's how I see it. That's how I could use it.
It
Although as
is.
the main character, I wouldn't use it.
It is. I think I agree with that application. And there is something else, which relates to the essence of atonal music, which is that it goes against nature. It's very difficult to go against nature. It's very difficult to write a piece in strict atonalism, because it will always try, we will tend to go back to the gravitational points of the tonic and the feeling that it has, and the processes that it ignites, the atonal music, are extremely intellectual. Right? It's like the music of technology rather than the music of nature. Yeah? It's the music of a world that we don't understand. It doesn't resonate. In every way you can understand the way resonate, it doesn't resonate with us. Yeah? It's certainly something that in the life of a composer should consume a chapter. You should try and write atonal music, yeah? Even if you hate it, yeah? But because it will give you the perfect grounds to create sense, because it doesn't make sense, natural sense on its own. So it's like when we say ceteris paribus, when we freeze everything, all the variables that come, you are freezing nature, yeah? So it's only you, yeah? And what you choose. For example, Giorgio said, well, I need to do something with the rhythm, for example, because otherwise I don't have anything else. So I will just use the rhythm. Yes? Okay. What homework did I give you last week? I can check in the video, but if you tell me, it's better.
You don't have lessons.
Sorry?
You don't have lessons. I don't remember any.
I don't remember any either. You give us enough good.
I think I assigned you to do some extensions and expansion.
Yes. I'm sorry. I really don't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well. Okay. So that's fine. We are going to do the string quartet by Piet Swerts. Okay? So this is certainly not atonal, eh? Let's see. Right. There we are. So again, this piece is not by me, right? It's just for exemplifying. So we start.
Very cool.
It was good, wasn't it? Okay, so I said this piece is certainly not atonal because it has a tonal section, right? But it's also atonal in sections. And I recollect what you said at the beginning. The strategy is based on actually the chromatic scale. The strategy to remain atonal that he follows. If we go inside each model that he uses, inside the model we have the recipe that I gave him, which is basically designs that have a minor second interjected with something else and a tritone inside the models. He did not make a vagrant melodic planning, and that's why I think it's approachable, the piece. It doesn't sound completely intergalactic, right? It sounds quite understandable. You can travel through the piece because again he did what we said. No, we don't have anything else. So what do we use? Repetition of the rhythm. The way it is written at the beginning resembles a contrapuntual deployment. With we can't call it subject and counter subject because the dominant and the tonic is not there. But or question it's just. But still, yes, we can call it question and answer, for example, conceptually speaking. I believe that the success of Piet Swerts, which is nowadays one of the contemporary composers that people is more prone to want to hear, not just to say they are sophisticated and they know contemporary music, but because they really enjoy the concert, is because of this. He always creates a system. There is a paragraph that I suggested Iris to read from the Theory of Harmony book, page 121. Did you read it?
No.
Okay. So I will read it for you. So it says, with this we have come. Sorry, by the way, have you reached that point in the book, which is Ella?
One more time.
Have you reached that point in the book, which is Ella? Page 121. In the book.
Probably not.
Directions for better progressions.
Probably not.
No. Okay. So he says, with this, we have come to a second requirement to be considered in the planning of good phrases: the demands for variety. This requirement is difficult to handle without speaking also of its complement, repetition. For as the former produces diversity, so the latter gives the former coherence, sense, system. And system can be founded only on repetition. See that this tells you how life works. This tells you how we should work in the studio. This tells you how we should work when we write a piece. This tells you how we should do when we write an article. And this tells you what you should do when you plan your activities for the year. Right? It's a very, very good summary, of the balance that we should always find between improvisation and composition. I will say it better than that. Improvisation and discrimination of what we improvise. What we keep. We can't keep everything. We just have to keep something. The fact of making decisions. This terminology applies beautifully to what Piet Swerts did in this piece. He made use of the variety, particularly by choosing to go through the path of atonalism, in some sections. But he harnessed that diversity within a system in which the rhythm became very clear for the listener. So there was a system that overrules the chaos produced by the atonalism. Yeah? It's actually a very good piece to analyze not atonalism or tonal music, but to analyze the integration of both things. So I will invest the last part of this session to analyze it a bit, the first section. Yeah? Just to see the most obvious elements in the piece. So we go back to the beginning. Well, first thing I would like to ask you is, which are the resources, both articulative, mainly articulative, and technically in terms of the idiomatic performance of the strings that he uses already here? Because he will keep on using the same. So, what is he using? It is
Staccato. Lot.
legato.
Staccato e lot.
Staccato. Sì, yes, staccato. Yes, certainly. And I would make special emphasis in the accentuations. Because the accentuations will save the integrity of the motif, regardless of where it is placed within the bars. The accentuation will keep the motif together, so it will be always intelligible. What else? Iris?
In general, they're playing unison, like an introduction, and then after when they are.
The unison in the introduction relates more or less to an attempt of presenting the motif, at least the first time, extremely in a transparent way. So the listeners which are going to be immersed in the world of atonalism, they can have at least a moment to see what we are going to be tracking. So it's not blurred. So good observation. And then in terms of the articulation of the use of the strings, right? What else catches your attention? I need to go to the next page to give you the proper information. So?
I could describe it as the first violin has the melody, and the other ones are
No, that's fine. But which technique of the strings are we using that catches your attention? That is particular of the strings. That is not. No. You don't see. The glissando.
I'm not sure what you mean.
This resource. You see? The glissando. Why? Because remember, in contemporary classical music, we need to use techniques. This one is very, very, very stingy on extended techniques, this piece. But nevertheless, he has it. We can't even call nowadays the glissando an extended technique. Anyway, but it's there. It's there and it's idiomatic. It's idiomatic. I mean, you can't do that in the piano, for example, and it wouldn't sound like that in any other instrument. So it's always a choice that relates to the choice of the instruments itself. Yeah. Okay. So now, yes, let's go for. So it is spotted very well. So the presentation of the exposition, we are going to say, of the motif. Ta 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 ram, pam 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 pam. No? And then what happens in the next page? Already there. What is he doing with the motif? To avoid a tonal center.
To avoid what?
Again?
To avoid what?
To avoid the tonal center. What is he doing with the motif? Which is hard, because a motif relates to thematic writing, and thematic writing relates to harmony. So, but how is he managing to avoid the tonal center with the repetition of the motif?
I mean, I see the repetition all the time.
Yes.
I'm just going up by step
But
tones.
is it an identical repetition? How is the repetition? Sequential, going up, chromatic. Pam,
Yes,
pam,
that's
pam,
what
pam, pam, pam,
I was
pam,
saying
pam.
that we're going step by step by half of a tone up.
Exactly, it's chromatic, it's half a tone
Yes.
up or yeah.
Yeah.
So then. What happened here? What happened here? In terms of the motif or the basic idea, what happened here?
Fragmentation.
Yes, fragmentation. Thank you, Gerrit. Indeed. Let's see what happened from the beginning in terms of fragmentation. And so here we have the whole basic idea, we will call it. Yeah, we'll call it basic idea, which is not a basic idea, but it doesn't matter. But it behaves like a basic idea. So. The rests are part of the idea, right? And the rests are being reduced, yeah? So it produces a compression, yeah, of this idea. And then it presents this sort of basic idea that has two motifs, as if that was the unit. But then we see that actually he treats those motifs extremely independently. Sometimes he uses this one, then maybe he uses this one twice, and then this one once, and then maybe he uses this one twice, and he takes off one of the rest, so it becomes closer to each other, right? And then all is at the service of what? Of saying, of mentioning the motif in all the different registers. So the priority, what is the priority? That's the question, no? What is he trying to say below all that texturing? Until there, what happened? What is the most important tendency that you can aesthetically recollect? What is the most important effect you feel in the music? Direction.
Are we going to a climax?
We are going up to the climax.
Yeah.
We are going up to the climax. He does something very smart, which is that for the untrained ear, it seems that we are always climbing. Yeah, we are not always climbing, but we are. For the untrained ear, he recollects the line and he entangles it, everything, so it seems always ascending, doesn't it? We'll hear it one more time. So that's going back to the way we write music. That's the plan. Reach the climax, go always up. Second layer, the elements we use, how we do that. The motif, which is actually two parties, but it's a compound motif sort of thing. And then we use it independently and we do different condensation, but we keep in the frame of what we are doing just a chromatic main pathway, no? That we will keep on building up. Yeah, we will come and collect mainly what? Mainly the octave expression of it. Doesn't matter the registers too much, but we are always ascending quintessentially to a point in which this thin texture of single notes, the climax, will turn into a column. Yeah, in which we have double stops, triple stops. Yeah, and we will stop the flow as well. Pow! There, and then that's our first milestone in the piece.
Almost like a cadence.
Almost like a cadence. By all means, a cadence. Not of any sort that we've seen, but a cadence. Right? We will listen to it again. It's interesting how he manages, through the statement of very clear focal points in the top register, yeah, to not distort the pull, yeah, through this chromatic line, even when he has extremely high notes in the beginning. Yeah, by no means we are distracted by them. We don't think this is the climax. Yeah, first of all, because it's in the beginning. But even when it's one of the highest pitch we will listen to, it's certainly not a focal point. You see that? And I will tell you how. Because he relates focal points with motivic deployment. So the focal points will always come attached with pa prabaram pam pam, pam prabaram pam. So whatever else we do, we can go around and make the piece more varied, which is something that we need as well. We can't do just a repetition. So here you see aesthetically how both things coexist in the most beautiful of manners. Yeah, you have variety with plenty of extremely different articulation. The motif doesn't have glissando, for example. You see the glissando, the leap, yeah, all this concept of leaping, glissandos, eccentric accentuations, they relate with the appearance of variety within the fabric of the piece. Yeah, while the articulations and the melodic line, in the sense of the sort of, we don't have leaps, for example, in the sort of leaps, or yes, we have pam 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 pam, yeah, but it's very clear. So the main structure is always respected, quintessentially, of the motif. So the motif is clear always. We can't get confused about the motif when it appears. We know, we immediately realize that it's the motif, yeah, even for the untrained ear. We listen to it once again, the same section. Another thing is that nothing is left to randomness. Yeah, the accompaniment or the inner voices, yeah, as well are chromatically arranged. Yeah, they don't do chords, for example, or they are chromatically arranged. Yeah, so it's everything respects the most important topic of the piece: chromatic ascension of the piece. No, sorry, of the passage. Yeah, chromatic ascension. Okay. So, conclusions.
There is a form still, and we don't need harmony. Oh, we can work without harmony, I guess, if we're creative. Conclusions.
That's it. That's one thing. You can create a system that doesn't rely on harmony as well, and can still be understandable. Yeah, you can create pieces that are enjoyable for people, that can be experienced. Yeah, by the untrained ear. Yeah, without using harmony. But the planning should be ever stronger. Why? Because you don't rely on any common practice. If you rely on common language, yeah, there are always things that keep the intelligibility of the speech. Because for example, if you talk in Greek and you talk to a Greek person, yeah, even if you don't make sense, at least he will know or she will know the meaning of the words that you're saying. Yeah, but if you don't talk in Greek and you don't talk in any language, right, that people understand, then repetition of nuances, rhythm, need to pay a particular... It's like when you understand an animal. You have a cat or you have a dog and they bark in a certain way, because that's what animals do to communicate with that. So you can still understand more or less, if it wants something, if it's sad, if it's out of repetition, right? Because every time the animal is sad, will do a noise, yeah, and then it's sad, yeah. If you need to open a door, the animal will make another. You see, everything is the same all across So in music, the same thing, yeah. It's like you, instead of making beautiful and melodic sounds, you were just barking and meowing, yeah, and then you need to make sense, yeah, out of this. So then, the planning should be ever stronger, yeah, when you work on this more eccentric, with these more eccentric resources, yeah. Also, relate idiomatic resources of the instruments, yeah, with these facets, no? So, as he did, very consistent. So, variety we use, as well we attach glissando to that, but we never use glissando for the motif, yeah. So then it's clear for the people who's hearing, yeah. The motif is not blurred, yeah, within the strategy that we use for the varied elements, right? Then focal point attached to the motif. Variety never on the focal point. Yes, always deployed, yeah, so it doesn't blur the attachment of the motif and the focal point. Understand? All these decisions he made before. There are certain formats that allow you to see that without planning there is no composition. You can try to write a piece for piano solo, and even though, but a good piece of piano solo requires planning, as you already know. But if you are in your own instrument, you can be maybe less framed. But if you have to write a string quartet, I mean, it just doesn't work. I mean, you can't just be throwing notes there in the stage without any objective. You have to conceive the piece like in this imaginary chess in your head, yeah, prior to going to Sibelius. Okay. Well, questions?
Homework?
Homework. Well, write it down, because then I give you the homework and you don't remember. So, homework will be just try to write A 20 bar atonal piece in any bar, in any measure. 20 bar atonal piece.
Okay.
For piano.
Piano.
For piano. Yeah, for the piano. Also, try to get around your pieces. Iris, I see you on Wednesday, so no problem. Yeah.
I changed the invitation because I mean, weekend was crazy. I was working on it, but I need to finish it. I don't have time.
Okay.
I put it for Saturday at 4 p.m. UK, 5 p.m.
It's fine. Yeah. I don't mind. It's fine. It's okay. If I have any, I don't think now on top of my head, I'm fine. So then, yeah.
Okay.
4 p.m. is fine. Good. Georgios, now, try to get done. Look, don't be overwhelmed by thinking I have to finish all the small pieces. Just finish one, and we can work on one, and get things out of the way slow. Okay, very good. Okay, 10 minutes break, and we continue with piano.